Hey guys, today I want to do something really fun and interesting. So I'm going to do a basketball exercise with my friend Eric. We're going to rank the top 40. We're actually going to draft the top 40 players of our all-time list. And I think it'll be fun and interesting for us. We kind of got inspired by NBA and TNT's special, where in 2011 they did an all-time fantasy draft from all the greatest players in NBA history, those with at least five-time All-Star appearances. So here we're actually going to draft from my list of the greatest players of all time, the top 40 on each position, which I did a YouTube video on for each of these. So I have my greatest point guards of all time, greatest shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers. I already ranked all of these guys in the top 40 of each position, and this is just based on my stats and accolades ranking. Based on their era, of course. So I think this will be an interesting way for us to rank our top 40 because we're going to draft the top 20, our top 20 picks, right, for each team. So Eric's going to make his team. I'm going to make my team. We're going to just select, they don't have to be on this list. This is kind of just like a guideline. But I bet most of the players that we pick are going to be from this list. So we're going to pick 20 players for each of us, and we're going to draft round robin style, right? So one person goes first, another person goes second, and then the second person goes after that again because they picked second. So it's going to be like a round robin style, the same way they did in that all-time draft video. So I think this should be pretty fun for us, a good way for us to get our top 20 and our top 40, basically, to draft our all-time teams, right? So this is the list we'll be drafting from, the list that I made. And just to go through this list again, I added a few other guys who I thought were good role players as well. But let's, for those of you guys who don't know who all of these players are, let's just go through them. So for the greatest point guards of all time, this is my list that we'll be drafting from. We have Walt Frazier, John Stockton, Magic Johnson, Bob Cousy, Steph Curry, Isaiah Thomas, Chris Paul, Oscar Robertson, Jason Kidd, Russell Westbrook, Tiny Archibald, Dave Bing, Chauncey Billups, Kevin Johnson, Tony Parker, JoJo White, Steve Nash, Damian Lillard, Gary Payton, Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway, Louis Dampier, Lenny Wilkins, Rajon Rondo, Jimmy Jones, Kyle Lowry, Kyrie Irving, Maurice Cheeks, Matt Calvin, Derrick Rose, Norm Van Leer, Terry Porter, Mark Price, Darren Williams, Gus Williams, Larry Jones, Bob Davies, Steve Francis, John Wall, Penny Hardaway, and then I added a few extra players that I thought were good, underrated role players, but really good at their position as well. They often get really forgotten, but they're underrated players that I think should be on here. So these guys are not in my top 40, but I thought they would be interesting to throw in the mix as kind of like wild cards, right? So Sam Castle, Mookie Blaylock, Rod Strickland, and Baron Davis. Norm Nixon also came very close to making my list, but I put Baron Davis just a little bit higher. So yeah, that's my greatest point guards list. And then for the SG list, the shooting guards list, I have George Gervin, Hal Greer, James Harden, Sam Jones, Dwayne Wade, Clyde Drexler, Jerry West, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, of course, Reggie Miller, Mitch Richmond, Bill Sharman, Ray Allen, T-Mac, Tracy McGrady, Pete Maravich, Sidney Moncrief, David Thompson, Joe Dumars, Dennis Johnson, who I put in the shooting guards instead of the point guards because the point guard position was more stacked, so I put him there. Anyways, it's all going to be in our selecting pool anyways. They got Freddie Lewis, Walter Davis, Jimmy Butler, Earl Monroe, Paul Westphal, Vince Carter, Gail Goodrick, Alvin Robertson, Klay Thompson, Manu Ginobili, and Eddie Jones, DeMar DeRozan, Charlie Scott, Rip Hamilton, Randy Smith, Ron Boone, Jerry Sloan, Richie Guerin, Joe Johnson, and Warren Jabali here. And I added a few other wildcard guys here as well. Michael Cooper, great defensive player. Jeff Hornacek. Drazen Petrovic is an interesting one that we had on our What Ifs video. So is Brandon Roy. So that's why I put these guys here. If we didn't go with the What If guys, I could have gone with Rolando Blackman and Reggie Theus as well, probably. So that's my SG list. And then for my SF list, I got small forwards. I got Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Paul Arizin, Scottie Pippen, John Havlicek, Rick Barry, Julius Erving, Dr. J, Elgin Baylor, Larry Bird, and LeBron, of course. Then James Worthy, Roger Brown, Alex English, Carmelo Anthony, Dominic Wilkins, Adrian Dantley, Paul Pierce, Connie Hawkins, Billy Cunningham, Bernard King, Chris Mullen, Willie Wise, Gus Johnson, Paul George, Chet Walker, Jamal Wilkes, Grant Hill, Cliff Hagan, Marcus Johnson, Bob Dandridge. And then this is interesting. I used to have Anton Jameson here, but I decided to put Anton Jameson as more of like a role player guy. He wasn't, I think Detlef Schrempf is better, so I put Detlef Schrempf now in my top 40 and kicked out Anton Jameson. So Detlef Schrempf, Sean Marion, Peja Stojakovic, Lecho Sprewell, Glenn Rice, Jim Pollard, Mark Aguirre, Jack Twyman, Lou Hudson, George Yardley, and then for my role player kind of wild card underrated guy list, Andre Iguodala, Anton Jameson, like I mentioned, Meta World Peace, and Rashard Lewis. All right, and for power forwards, we got Bob Pettit, Tim Duncan, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Dirk Nowitzki, Dolph Schayes, Kevin Garnett, Elvin Hayes, Kevin McHale, Anthony Davis, Spencer Haywood, Chris Webber, Dennis Rodman, Tom Heinsohn, Paul Gasol, Jerry Lucas, George McGinnis, Dave DeBusschere, Giannis, Dan Issel, Bob Love, Tom Chambers, Sean Kemp, Maurice Lucas, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bobby Jones, Blake Griffin, Bailey Howell, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh, Buck Williams, Harry Gallatin, Rasheed Wallace, Larry Nance. So Terry Cummings actually put in here instead of Paul Silas. I originally had Paul Silas in here, but I moved him out to because I think he's more of like a defensive role player guy that's kind of underrated. So I put him in the wildcard section, and I moved Terry Cummings in because Terry Cummings was actually the main guy on his team, right? The alpha dog, whereas Paul Silas was not. Also, Terry Cummings is very similar to Elton Brand. I would put him up about the same level. So there, Terry Cummings, Elton Brand, Vern Mickelson, Larry Keenan, Kevin Love, and this guy's also really underrated, Dan Roundfield. He also gets really forgotten a lot, but he was a pretty good power forward back in the day, really good defensively, right? He's kind of like the Mookie Blaylock of power forwards. He played for the Hawks and really good defensively, and is now pretty much forgotten. But I put him on here, took out Draymond Green. I think Draymond Green is another one of those guys, not the main guy on his team, but really good defensive role player, so I put him on there. This guy, though, Dan Roundfield, he was more than just a role player, so that's why I put Dan Roundfield on here instead. And then, yeah, for my wildcard guys, the guys I feel like kind of like underrated role player guys, I put in Draymond Green and Paul Silas in here, and then also Horace Grant and Otis Thorpe, who I both think are pretty underrated power forwards as well, all pretty good defensively as well. So, yep, that's the power forwards. And then for my greatest centers list, we have George Mikan, Wilt Chamberlain, Moses Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, Shaq, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Artis Gilmore, and Kareem. And then Nate Thurmond, Dikembe Mutombo, Willis Reed, Dwight Howard, Mel Daniels, Bill Walton, Weston Soul, Dave Cowens, Bob McAdoo, Neil Johnston, Alonzo Mourning, Ben Wallace, Walt Bellamy, Bob Lanier, Robert Parrish, Ed Macaulay, Jack Sigma, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Zelma Beatty, Brad Dowdery, Karl Anthony Towns, Clyde Lovellett, Mark Gasol, Arnie Risen, Larry Faust, Al Horford, Bill Laimbeer, Andre Drummond, and Yao Ming. And then for my role players, kind of wild card list, I got Rudy Gobert and DeAndre Jordan. Both of them are really good defensive guys. Actually, all three of these guys. Tyson Chandler as well, right? So yeah, Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Jordan, Tyson Chandler, great role player, defensive guys, and Vlade Divac. And I didn't put Arvydas Sabonis in here because he didn't actually play his prime in the NBA, whereas Drazen Petrovic kind of played a little bit of his prime in the NBA, so that's why I have Petrovic in here, but not Sabonis, even though they're both what-ifs. But yeah, Vlade Divac here as well. So yeah, that is going to be our list who we will be selecting from, and yeah, we should have some really fun and interesting debates about who to pick, because it's going to be a hard decision, right? This is a lot of guys, right? This is 220 guys to pick from. That's definitely a lot of guys, and should be very fun and interesting time to decide who to pick over who, right? So anyways, guys, that's it. We're going to start our all-time drafting list now.
Corey?
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. This is how I have it set up. So this is my list for each position.
Okay.
So I got, point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, centers. Mm-hmm. And this is just based off of my list.
We don't have to go by a list, obviously. We choose.
No, we don't have to go by my list. Okay. This is just like kind of like a guideline.
Yep.
Right. My ranking just based on my graph, my charts and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I added like a few other role players in. You can choose to, if I have any guys that I'm missing on here, you can always add them in. But yeah, I think most of the guys you would probably want are going to be on these lists. So yeah.
So how do we decide who chooses first?
You want to go first, or so here's how we're going to do it. Whoever chooses first, the second player goes, and the second player goes after that again.
So
it's kind of like
the guy
round
chooses
robin.
First, and then the next guy goes to second and third, and then the guy goes 4 and 5, right?
Yeah, yep. So it's kind of like a round robin, exactly what they did in the in that fantasy draft.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, ready.
All right. So me and Eric are going to choose our all-time teams. We're going to pick 15 each, right? I'm going 15 deep each, and we're going to go round robin style. And we have some of the best players of NBA history up here. We're going to choose. We don't have to choose by position, but keep in mind that we are making a team here. So it's not necessarily just picking the top 15 guys of all time. We're trying to think about who can have the best team. Right, just a fun little exercise thing. So
one question here though is when we're choosing the players, are we going by sometimes also who has the best career or who at their peak?
So here's what I'm going to do. This is going to be more interesting because it's actually.
Because say for example, someone like Grant Hill.
Yep.
With the injury issues now, but at
So-
his best.
Yep.
Yeah.
So actually, here's why I put Drazen Petrovic and Brandon Roy in here.
Okay.
Okay. Pick like whatever prime you think the guy had, right? So
Okay.
pick like 2-year, 3-year prime, whatever.
Okay.
So
we can choose the prime version of that guy.
yeah, you can choose
injuries.
the prime version of any of these guys pre-injuries for your team.
Got
okay.
it. Okay, got it.
Yep. So that's why you have Bill Walton, right? You got.
Yeah.
I don't have Sabonis in here because he actually never played in the NBA in his prime, but I do have Petrovic and Roy on here.
Fair enough.
And Penny and these guys. So yeah, and let me know like if you want to go to any of these charts.
Sure.
Want to look at any.
And
of them.
these would go by positions, the point guards of all time. Okay.
Well, yeah. You let me know which position you want to choose, and I can go there. But
Sure.
right. You want to go first, or want me to go first?
Doesn't matter. Should I go first? You get second and third, or
You can go first.
sure. Jordan.
Jordan's your first pick.
Nice and easy.
So here's the interesting thing. Like, I think it'd be interesting for you like give a reason to why you picked whoever. I think for Jordan you don't really need a reason, but I think for this one actually, why Jordan over LeBron?
That's the thing. Honestly, for me, it's between Jordan and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
But
Those are the two choices, right, for the first pick. I think. Right.
Yeah. But for me, I think with Jordan, first of all, is when you're in the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
and you need that hit that clutch shot. I think also Jordan in his prime. If you're talking about the multiple primes of Jordan, like you have the 80s version of Jordan,
Yep.
and then you have the later version of Jordan that can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of versatility there. The 80s version of Jordan was quite all around as well, kind of similar to LeBron.
Yep.
And honestly, for me, these guys are 50-50 between Jordan and LeBron, like literally 50-50. Yeah. So.
So you choose Jordan because of that, maybe the extra killer instinct mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna select Jordan here, and then I'm gonna put him here. All right. So this is your team. I have it set like this. All right. So my turn.
David Thompson, man. DT. Even the system wants you to choose him.
No. I'm gonna pick LeBron. Obviously, I'm taking LeBron.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a LeBron fan, but you have to take him if he's available, right? All right, LeBron, and then I'm going next, right? I'm going with my favorite player, Magic Johnson. Yep. So I got LeBron and I got Magic, so I got a very versatile team. All right. All right. Me and Magic, look, the two most versatile players ever, both can play all 5 positions. Right? Right. Who are you going with? Next guy.
Next one's tough.
So let's see. We got Kareem still here. We got Bill Russell.
So I get the next two picks.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm gonna take Kareem.
Okay. The captain. All right. And next pick. Kareem. Okay.
And then I will take Hakeem.
Okay. I thought you might take him.
Because I can play Hakeem at power forward.
Oh, can you?
Because he's 6'10".
Has he ever played power forward?
Maybe with Samson, they kind of took turns.
I thought Samson was the power forward.
They kind of took turns, depending on matchups.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on games. So he's played both. Because Hakeem's only... Because Samson's taller.
Mm-hmm.
Hakeem's around 6'10", 6'11".
Okay.
Yeah, so he can be my power forward.
All right. So Hakeem, Kareem. So you Hakeem at power forward,
Mm-hmm.
Kareem and Jordan. I got two guys who can play any position. Next two picks. Yeah, well, since you took Hakeem, I'm going to take the logical next choice, which is Tim Duncan,
Good pick.
who is basically Hakeem Light.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good pick.
All right. And then after Tim Duncan is where it gets interesting. Because now we have a bunch of guys now. Yeah, here's where it gets harder.
Yep, here it gets a lot harder.
Let's see, you got Larry Bird still. Oscar, West, Bill Russell, Moses. I'm gonna go Shaq.
Mm.
Okay.
Now it gets really hard.
Okay, who you taking? Kobe.
I don't know.
West.
I'm good.
A lot of choices. Wilt Chamberlain, Russell. Curry, Chris Paul, Durant, Bird.
I think. So I have. We're going for starting five. I have my center. I have my power forward set. I got my shooting guard set. Or should I just go for the best player possible?
I know, right? It's hard. It's like, do you draft with the best player or do you draft the one that fits your team the best? Right.
Best player possible. I might be going for another big man.
Oops. There.
But
Barkley's still there.
I do need some wings. And I do need someone with some point guard skills.
Here's the wings. Point guards. You know what would be interesting pick is Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
He might come up in this. Is we don't actually know his ceiling yet.
He might. He very well might.
And his prime might actually be right now. We don't know. Let's see these again. Remember, you can pick any of these guys in their prime. So you do have Walton still there. McAdoo. These guys have really good primes.
Moses Malone will be interesting.
Moses is a very good prime as well. Some of these other sidekick players I threw in just for wild cards in case you know, good defensive glue guys. They're there, Mookie Blaylock, Strickland, Cassell.
gets really hard now.
Right.
You see, the problem here
I think
is,
we're we're already like 4 guys deep, so
yeah, it gets really,
it's
really
already
hard.
it's already pretty hard.
This is getting really hard now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since there's actually a lot of modern players that are actually quite good as well, in all
Yeah.
honesty.
I mean,
Um,
80's pretty good. KG.
Yep, exactly. So all these guys can actually fill a spot pretty well. But what I'm looking for, I do need some playmaking, but I could just take the best guy possible first.
That's Kobe, right?
Huh? What? What about Kobe?
Best guy, man.
The best
Kobe.
guy?
Black Mamba.
That's really tough. Why don't we go?
Let me know if you need to see any list.
I'll go Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Yeah. He's a great passer,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll help out with all these other guys around him, and he's a great shooter.
Yep.
Help spread the floor as well.
Yep.
And he's a really good rebounder.
He does everything kind of well. Now you do have the next pick as well.
I'll take Dr. J.
Really, two SS right now. Okay.
Yep. Just to fill up my wings, because we're talking about his prime. This is prime Dr.
Yes,
J.
Nets. So you see, he's in his Nets jersey.
Exactly. So this is prime Dr. J we're talking
He's in his
about.
Nets jersey. Prime ABA Dr. J.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't shoot as well as Bird, but for sure the monster athleticism. Right, you got that.
And imagine a defense from Hakeem and even prime Kareem leading
Mhm.
to the fast break. Then you get Bird spreading the wings, filling up the wings on the 3-point shot on the break.
Okay.
And you get Jordan and Dr. J coming down. It's not bad.
Interesting. So Jordan, Kareem, Hakeem, Bird, Dr. J. I got LeBron, Magic, Duncan, Shaq. Yeah, I got a pretty good team already.
We can't have a bad team. There's no way we can either have a bad team.
No, yeah, but who's gonna be better?
Mhm.
Who's gonna win this matchup? That's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
want to know. So Shaq, got to take someone who can contain Dr. J. Okay, since you took Bird,
Mhm.
I'm gonna take Kevin Durant.
Nice pick.
Yes, because he's arguably just as good, if not better, than Bird. Might not.
He's
might
not the
be as-
playmaker. He's not the
might
playmaker.
not be a playmaker. That's fine. I got Magic and LeBron
Mhm.
for that. He can rebound probably just as well. So yeah.
Yep.
Just Bird's got the playmaking. That's it.
Mhm.
But KD's more athletic, I think.
Mhm.
So there's that. Okay. The next pick. Who I got? Okay, those guys can be any position. PFC, wing. Man, I got big. I've got big guys, man. I don't have any small dudes. Your smallest guy is Jordan, huh?
Exactly. None of us have really like guys that are that small yet. Man.
Maybe we should. I don't know.
Yeah, you could.
Maybe we should. We don't have any small
Hey,
guys.
Bob
yet.
Cousy. Hey, where's your Rick Barry, man?
But no, he's coming up.
You gotta take Rick.
He's
Dude, you gotta give him some love.
I know.
You
I
gotta
know.
give him some early love.
I know. I gotta
Pick
give.
him as the last guy is not giving him love.
Even his son didn't give him any love.
Pick him as your 15th guy is not giving him any love, man. I mean, you gotta show that love right now. If there's ever a chance, you gotta do it now.
I'm thinking about this, so I'm gonna be biased here. I'm gonna pick Jerry West, one of my favorite players, and a guy who can kind of do everything at the guard position.
Yep.
So he can be the point guard, he can be the shooting guard, he can play defense, he can shoot.
And you're starting to go small.
Starting, yes.
Okay, so now my turn.
Mm-hmm.
For my next two picks. Well, can I see the list again, please?
Which one?
I don't know, just where all the players are.
Okay, so PFs. Still got Barkley, McHale, Malone, KG on there, SGs, still got Drexler, Kobe, Wade. Hey, take Harden if you want. C's, we have Russell Wilt still. Dave Robinson, Walton, PGs, Stockton, Curry, Isaiah, Oscar, Kidd. In the SFs, we still got Barry, Hondo, Pippen, Baylor.
One question is, what rules are we playing under if these two teams play?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
What rules are we playing under?
totally different game.
You can decide what era, I guess, because it depends on the makeup of your team, right? For you, you might want to pick 90s rules. I think those guys, 80s or 90s rules, I think you guys might be doing well in those rules. For my team, I think I might pick a little bit more recent rules. I think my guys might be doing a little bit better in like 2010s rules. I mean, it's up
Depends,
to you.
because 2000 is totally different from 2010, because 05 is when they changed the rules.
Okay, so let's say today's rules. Okay, I think my team can do pretty well in today's rules. Your team can maybe do well in 80s, 90s rules.
Hard to say, because you got Shaq and Tim Duncan,
Mhm.
and I think Shaq and Tim Duncan flourishes more in the old rules.
Could be. They can also do well in
Yeah.
today's rules too.
And then also Magic's not much of a shooter,
Uh,
so that's the problem.
that's cool. He
In-
can play power forward.
the problem with Magic is in today's rules
Just
as a
a really
point
good
guard,
word. Yeah.
like you have to play a lot of high pick and roll in today's game. So
Mhm.
Magic doesn't play high pick and roll that much, and in order to play high pick and roll properly, you gotta be able to be a shooter, and that's where because Magic predominantly is great on the break, getting the ball up the court, or getting up and then making a post feed into the post, which is more of an 80s 90s game.
Okay, let's say
So your team is actually interesting because like Durant would actually work in almost any era, but he's more.
well, okay,
Yeah.
how about with 90s rules? Because I think 90s is a good balance
I think so.
between the so you got 70s and 80s, which are like more the post game stuff, and then you got 00s and 10s with the more outside perimeter. 90s is kind of the where you have a good 3-point shooter would
Mhm.
do well, and then
Mhm.
you have a good post game can also do well.
Mhm.
So let's just say that's a good compromise.
Okay, yeah, because
90s
you have
rules.
post and the outside now.
Yeah,
and
you got
tough
so
defense.
anything outside or inside would be good.
Okay.
Then let me know if you need to see any of the.
Yeah, take a look at this again. Thanks. Let's see. Why don't I go with? Just for fun, out of respect.
Clay Thompson.
No, I'm good. Just for fun, out of respect, I'll go with Bill Russell.
Okay.
Guy won a winner. on my team.
In 90s rules.
Yes, because
Okay.
he's kind of like your beefed up Rodman.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Can't really shoot well, but
Yeah, because we're talking about defense.
for the defensive rebounding, yes.
Exactly. So he's a
Yes.
beefed up Rodman.
A better Rodman, okay.
And then I will take my next pick would be Penny Hardaway.
Wow. Okay. Because it's prime Penny Hardaway.
Yep, it's prime Penny Hardaway. Honestly, prime Penny Hardaway might be a second greatest point guard of all time.
And you're taking him in your top 10, basically.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Because we're the prime Penny here, so he's easily top 10 if it's prime Penny.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because easily Magic might have issues guarding Penny, at prime Penny.
Well, I mean, I guess you needed a point guard, and
Yep.
he's as good as anyone here
Exactly.
in his prime.
And he's big. He plays some defense. He can post.
Penny versus Magic might be interesting.
Very interesting, because Penny's a lot quicker, and he's actually a better shooter from the outside. But Magic's obviously bigger, so you
Magic's
can
a
back
little
him
bit
down.
bigger, yep.
Yep.
You got Dr. J, who's basically a beefed up Dominique, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. J is basically like in the 90s.
Yep.
He'd just be beefed up Dr. Dominique. And you
Well, and also way better ball handling Dominique, because Dominique is not much of an end-to-end player on the fast
Mhm.
break. He doesn't handle the
oh
ball.
yeah,
like
and
that.
Dr. J can definitely take the ball
Dr. J's
down
coast to coast, like
down the
Charles
court, yep.
Barkley and everybody. Yeah.
Yep. Russell, beefed up Rodman. Okay. And you got the two best players of the 90s, Jordan and Hakeem.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yep. And Kareem might be potentially top 3 greatest of all time.
Well,
So-
Kareem will work in any era just because of his unstoppable hot shot. But my guys will work pretty well. I got some good perimeter players actually.
Now, we're taking into account leadership as well.
I mean, just in the balance of your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about leadership as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? I guess that's why we haven't taken Kobe yet.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got good interior. Duncan and Shaq. Perimeter, I got West and Durant. I got 2 of the greatest ball handlers. Okay.
You know, to a lot of fans out there, it's already blasphemous that we didn't take Kobe yet. Either of us.
Whatever, it's our list. It's our list. We can take whoever we want.
Maybe
I mean, you took Penny Hardaway.
Hey,
Already.
hey! If people actually watched their basketball
Yeah.
and they saw a post-injured and older, washed-up Penny Hardaway on Phoenix Suns, he played pretty much prime Kobe, toe to toe. He actually shot a better field goal percentage than Kobe, I believe, in that series. In this
And you're
playoffs.
taking Penny over Wilt Chamberlain as well. So,
Yeah. Well, I needed a point guard.
yeah.
And Penny can shoot. He can pass.
Well, you
he
took
can
him over
post.
Oscar Robertson, which is interesting,
Mhm.
right? He would usually be number 2, right?
Yeah. Only thing is just Penny's more athletic and Penny's taller. So.
Yes. Oscar would be. It's interesting because if Oscar. Wait, who's taller? Is Oscar Robert? Is Penny Hard taller than Oscar?
Oh
Oscar's
yeah, for
just
sure.
6'5",
By far,
right?
by
Okay.
far. Oscar's probably around 6'4" and a half, 6'5".
I mean, they're both big point guards,
Mm-hmm.
but no, you're right. I think if you take Penny back to Oscar's era.
Penny will kill everybody in Oscar's era, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you take Oscar in today's era or in the '90s era, he'd do pretty well still.
But I think Penny would do even better if you put
Okay.
him in the 70s.
Okay, so you think Oscar in '90s wouldn't do as well as Penny, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
interesting.
so. Well, because Penny's taller, longer, jumps higher, quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Charles Barkley
Nice pick. It's an interesting pick.
in his prime, right? We're talking
Mhm.
about in his prime, and
Yeah.
Charles Barkley in his prime was a beast.
Yes, he was.
Yep, you took it coast to coast, dunk it, you can assist, basically do everything but defend. He wasn't a good shooter either, but yeah, it's fine. I am gonna need a good guard now though, because I got a whole bunch of bigs.
Yeah.
And West is my only guard. So Curry actually.
Westbrook, baby.
So Curry might actually.
Allen
be interesting.
Iverson.
You're not taking Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson.
You're not taking Allen
Come on,
Iverson. Allen Iverson. Yeah, I'm not. He's not your first pick. I'm surprised he wasn't your first pick.
man. Sorry, man. Michael Jordan was on my list.
Curry would actually be interesting because I think he could play well in any era if you have a 3-point line.
Which Curry are we talking about?
Actually, no. Any era that has a 3-point line.
Okay, so Stephen Curry? Yeah, he's interesting.
Yeah, there's only one Curry on here.
Yeah.
What do you think, Del Curry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Eddie Curry.
yeah, I mean, any era that has a 3-point line obviously would benefit from Steph Curry, but
Yeah, the 90s did have a 3-point line. So.
they had a shorter 3-point line too.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if we're.
Oh, they had a short for only for a couple of years though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could take Curry, and Curry would just blow everyone in the 90s from his 3-point shooting, except for maybe Reggie Miller. Stockton is always reliable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think CP3 is just a better version of Stockton, honestly. IMO. I think Chris Paul can do everything that Stockton can do, but
But in your case,
A little
it's
bit
different because you already have Magic and also LeBron. So 2 guys that are already floor generals. So now, but what Curry does is he adds
Yep.
a lot of shooting that you don't have. That's really the biggest key. Because
yes.
Magic and LeBron are both kind of,
yes.
Yeah.
Shooting, let me see. There's a lot of other guys in this list that are interesting too.
Yeah.
Peja Stojakovic would be
Mhm.
a good shooter as well.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller, obviously.
Yep.
Ray Allen.
Glenn Rice.
Yeah, Glenn Rice. Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili. All these guys are good shooters.
Steve Kerr.
I could. No, I will go Curry. I think he's probably the most in terms of volume.
Yep.
He's probably the best.
I think
here.
you need some shooting anyway. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think in terms of volume, I mean, got Curry and Durant. That's already a proven combination,
Mhm.
right? They already can play together. Well, we already know that. So there, here we go.
All right. Now my next group, I get 2 picks.
Yep. Bob Pettit. I'm not sure how well you'll do in the 90s, but
Exactly.
Bob Pettit. Pettit gets shafted in these all-time drafts. Feel bad for him. Same thing with Dolph Shays. He also gets shafted. Poor guys. Horace Grant.
So these are for power forwards here. Can we please get to just scroll through this?
Sure. What do you need? Guards?
No. Just want to see what's out there.
Pete Maravich, David Thompson. Right. You got a second Michael Jordan. Basically, Drexler's there.
No,
who's
you're
also
supposed to pick Thompson.
Drexler and Wade are kind of like Jordan-esque. Kobe, right? Pretend Jordan. You still got these guys are pretty good shooters if you need them. Ginobili and Clay.
Can we please keep going through this?
Eddie Jones, better than Kobe, right?
Oh, Eddie Jones, Brandon Roy. I mean, yeah.
Brandon Roy's there. Drazen Petrovic. Also, yeah, Drazen Petrovic is a pretty good shooter too.
Yep.
He's there as well. Reggie Miller actually called him the best shooter he'd ever seen.
Reggie Miller said who?
Reggie Miller on the open court, he said Drazen Petrovic was the best shooter he'd ever seen.
Well, Drazen Petrovic was my favorite European player until I saw Luka Doncic recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Luka Doncic is a good one too.
Yep.
Centers.
Okay. I think here gets pretty interesting.
If you need some defense, Robinson, Gilmore, Wilt, Thurmond, Alonzo, they're all there. Dikembe. You got Walt Bellamy, Bob Lanier, Jack Sigma if you need an outside shooter. Nikola Jokic is pretty interesting if you need a more all-around center. You can have some secondary playmaking abilities. And you can take Bill Laimbeer, right? I mean, he's a good rebounder, but he's going to antagonize the opponent.
Yep. And Moses Malone is interesting as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's between Robinson or Wilt Chamberlain or Moses Malone.
Interesting.
The thing is,
Well, you also look at Ewing in his prime, who was pretty good in his prime as well.
yes, Ewing in his prime was an absolute beast.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about early Ewing. We're talking about 80s Ewing.
Late 80s Ewing, yes.
Yes. Yeah, because 80s Ewing was pretty amazing. I would even take 80s Ewing over Robinson by a bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Prime Robinson too, huh?
Yeah, because he jumped really high as well, but he was more of a warrior than Robinson was. And he also had skill to turn around on the touch shot, but he was still athletic. He was more fiery. He normally actually outplayed Robinson a lot in the 80s before the knee injuries when they met up. And Ewing in college was even more of a beast.
Okay.
He actually reminded me of Wilt, but then with more skill.
Moses Malone with a better shot, I think.
Exactly, with more skill, a better shot. But he was trying to block everything. Moses Malone, obviously.
Moses would be early 80s Moses.
Yep.
Who's ridiculously dominant.
Proven track record.
Yep.
They won a championship. Great, one of the greatest rebounders ever.
Mm-hmm.
Dominant on the inside, can score. Pretty good defender, too.
And, of course, you also have to consider McAdoo and Walton in their primes.
Yes.
Were really good as well.
Yes. Walton is definitely a person that's really intriguing in his prime. See, this is a tough choice.
so many good choices.
Okay, if we're going prime, then I would take Ewing over Robinson then, if we're talking about 80s. But then the thing is, now we still got Moses Malone. Any casual fan would say, oh, it's Wilt for sure. But the thing is, Wilt in his era was dominant. He'll still be great too nowadays. But guys like Robinson was...
But you took Russell in the 90s, so
yeah.
Wilt would obviously also be pretty good in the 90s.
Yeah, but the reason why I chose Russell, a couple of things, is the leadership, the heart, the competitiveness.
Right.
Yeah.
But you still get the rebounding defense from Wilt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But I get all the intangibles, and also he's a pretty good passer and good decision maker. He can run the break too with everybody. He can run the break with Dr. J and everybody too on the break. With Wilt, I can pretty much get everything that he does in a package of David Robinson or a prime Patrick Ewing, but I get a bit more touch and scoring. Bill Walton would be super interesting.
Yep.
Super, super interesting. Will Walton. Moses Malone is actually at his best. He's just super dominant though. Moses Malone.
Yeah, so this is going to be, I mean, it's pretty tough, right? Prime Moses, Prime Walton, Prime Ewing, Prime Robinson, that's pretty tough.
That's really tough. I think I say the toughest choices here would be Prime Moses, Prime Ewing, Prime Walton.
Okay.
However, Walton and Moses won a championship, and Walton in particular had an amazing run.
Ewing doesn't quite show up as much in the clutch moments. No, Moses is a little bit better, I think, in the clutch. Walton also as well in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's what I would consider. Ewing and Robinson, I think, are more as regular season guys.
You know what? I would go. It doesn't matter. I'll just go Moses Malone.
Yep, I think he's probably the best out of that bunch.
Yeah, because he's my top 10 anyways. He's my guy to make just a 10th spot.
Yeah, and he's there. He had mentored Hakeem. So
Yeah. And then my next pick.
yes,
This
this
is
year 9th pick. Yep.
out of loyalty would be Scottie Pippen.
Right.
This way, I'm still big. I have a point forward. Pippen can play point guard as well. Just pretty much
And
like LeBron.
Prime Pippen can pretty much do everything on the court.
Exactly. So he's kind of like my LeBron already, and he's got amazing defense through his whole career.
Yeah, with a touch less offense.
Yeah,
Yes.
which I don't need because I have so many scores already.
Yep.
On my team. With Jordan, Kareem, and Hakeem, and Bird, I think I'm good with scoring.
All right. Scottie Pippen. Interesting. Okay. So I got my scoring. I got West, KD, and Curry for scoring. Rebounding, got Shaq, Duncan, Barkley, 2 playmakers. Who are the all-time best basketball IQ, I think. So let's see. I got, who do I need? You already got like. Okay, you got like 4 center guys. 4 centers already.
Yeah.
And I only really have 1 true center, so
Yeah, because for me, Bill Russell and Hakeem can both play power forward if I
Yeah.
really want them to.
tough. I'm thinking these
Dude,
two.
you gotta go Mikan, man. You gotta represent. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. Come on.
Actually, I think these 2 guys are pretty close. Prime Artis Gilmore, Prime David Robinson, and Prime Wilt. I think are all pretty close. Because Artis Gilmore in the ABA, we're talking ABA Artis Gilmore with the Kentucky Colonels. He was as dominant as Wilt was in the NBA, basically. And rebounding on defense, he's pretty much up there with Wilt and Robinson. So tough. And then Mel Daniels as well is also interesting because he's also a really good rebounder too. But I think Artis Gilmore would probably go before Mel Daniels if we're talking ABA. I mean, yeah. I think I know in this draft a lot of like people watching are going to be like, oh, why is Wilt so low and stuff? Why is Kobe so low? But the thing is, if we're talking about building an all-time team here,
Yep.
I want to take guys who like fit really well with my team, and also like how well they can play in the 90s as well is what I'm thinking about. So that's the era we're choosing. Robinson, like you said, is probably 90s version of Wilt, basically.
With more skill.
Uh,
With a lot more skill, a lot more touch.
probably get a touch more rebounding with Wilt, I think.
Yeah.
Defense is about the same. You get a touch more rebounding with Wilt. They're both super freaky athletic. Oh, it's tough. And they're both really good regular season players. Not so much in the playoffs, but they're really good regular season players. Man, that's tough. Robinson or Wilt?
Mikan, man. Mikan.
Okay.
Parrish.
I would probably take Cowens before Parrish, actually. Who's also a really good rebounder and Unseld too.
Mikan. Mikan.
And Willis Reed as well.
Yeah, Willis Reed, man. He's gotta pop up, you know.
But-
Like, just gotta walk up from the locker rooms for a few minutes. You're good. You're good to go.
But I'm not
Play
sure
a few
if
minutes and then that's it. Let him sit.
I'm not sure if I would take Willis Reed over Walton or McAdoo though. If we're talking primes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Wilt. I can't let Wilt fall too low. Can't let him fall too low. It's a Big Dipper, man. Big Dipper. Okay, next pick. Who do I need? Who need more guards? Let's see. Luka Doncic would be really interesting. Kuzi. No, Isaiah Thomas is still there
Mm-hmm.
as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
If you just want like a pure point guard, Stockton, Isaiah, two of the best, and Kevin Johnson is also really interesting
Yes.
too.
Pre-injury.
in his-
Pre-injury Johnson
in
was
his prime, yeah.
was a beast.
We're talking 1990,
Mm-hmm.
and prime Tiny Archibald also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Led the league in assists and scoring.
Steve Francis, man.
No, Bob Davies.
Sure.
uh,
Little cheeks.
yeah, Louis Dampier is actually a really good scorer as well. Tim Hardaway, Terry Porter, Mark Price in his prime is actually really good
Lenny
as well.
Wilkins.
Lenny Wilkins. Like I said, Mark Price may have actually been better than Stockton in his prime. So
Yep.
it's
That's
an
what I've
interesting
always
one.
been saying. So
And Gus Williams as well is very underrated point guard. This is all very interesting. Shooting guards: Gervin, Greer, Harden, Sam Jones, very clutch. Man, we're gonna get so much hate from Kobe fans.
I'm good. I got Jordan. I got Jordan.
I'm good. I got West, man. West over Kobe
Yep.
any day.
Jordan over Kobe any day. I'm good. Jordan trumps West.
David
we both know that.
Thompson. David Thompson in his prime is actually really good as well.
Mhm.
Pete Maravich, T-Mac, Mitch Richmond. All pretty good. Reggie Miller. I'm going to take an interesting pick. I'm taking Walt Frazier.
Mm.
Because basically, I think he's pretty underrated. But Frazier can pretty much do everything. He can score. He's clutch. He can pass well. He's a good defender. Pretty much, he does everything at the guard position as well. Kind of like another version of West, except not as much offense wise, or as good of a shooter. But everything else, he can do what West does. So. And I think he has the defensive skills of Gary Payton, but he has a much higher offensive ceiling, and he's he comes up bigger in playoff moments. So I think Frazier is going to be my pick. Right.
So what do I have here? I got Jordan as my shooting guard.
Mm-hmm.
I got Jay or Bird as my small forward. Jay Bird or Pippen as my small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Penny Hardaway can be my point guard. Got Hakeem, Bill Russell as power forward. My centers, Moses Malone, Kareem. It's a pretty good team.
Yep. So it's your 10th pick. So you got 6 more spots.
For basketball IQ and passing, I already have 3 players. I got Bird, I got Pippen, I got Penny.
So you can afford to take someone less basketball IQ, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Of course, you have
Kobe. There you go, man. Vince Carter. If you want defense, some guys here. Alvin Robertson's really good. Dennis Johnson, Joe Dumars, Sidney Moncrief, all very good defenders. Eddie Jones, Jerry Sloan would be an interesting pick as well.
Can I please go to some of the positions?
Okay, Pievs, Elvin Hayes, McHale, 80, Giannis. McGinnis was pretty good in his prime. You have Rodman here, of course. Weber. Sean Kemp. Pretty good in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Amari Stoudemire, also pretty good in his prime. Elton Brand. Terry Cummings.
We still have some pretty interesting choices, really. I mean,
Centers, right? We still got Walton on the Robinson and Ewing there. We got Alonso in his prime too.
Yep.
Pretty good defender. Kind of like a 2000 version of Nate Thurmond.
you know what?
SFs. Oh. Yep. Well, Bernard King was really good in his prime too. Bernard King, Marcus Johnson, Grant Hill. These guys. Oh, Rasheed Wallace is up there as well. Yep. So, Sean Marion.
I think I'll take David Robinson.
Dave Robinson.
Yeah.
Pretty much one of the best picks that's still
Yeah,
left.
One of the best guys still left. So
Yep.
might as well just go for the best player still available.
Mm-hmm.
And then now the next pick I can try to fill a need. So I have.
We need guards, wings, centers, big men.
Can I go to the list, please? See what we got here.
Hondo and Barry still there, and Baylor still left there on there. Stockton, Oscar are still there. Isaiah, Kidd, still there. Mikan. No, Ed McCauley. Take him.
Oh, I got some interesting choices here, really.
Iverson. Allen Iverson.
It's okay. I need my other guys to get the ball sometimes.
Iceman, still there.
Why don't I?
Michael Cooper, good glue guy. Petrovic, good shooter. Brandon Roy.
Because we're going for our favorite version or what we think is the best version
Sure.
of that player, right?
Sure. I mean, you can even go for 2001 Kobe, who I think is the best
Exactly.
version of him.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
Because I don't like most versions of Kobe, but the 2001 the early versions.
The 2001 version or 2002 version is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That version's pretty good because he can shoot and he can play a role, and he
Yep.
plays defense still.
Yep. So you don't have to take 2006
Yeah.
version. You can. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take Kobe then. I'll
Okay.
take Kobe for the early version of Kobe.
Taking Kobe.
At least that version of Kobe is willing to play a role. He's still starting to play some defense.
Yep.
And he can still kind of shoot when he's open.
Yep.
I needed some shooting anyways on this team. So it's okay.
Okay. And people are saying, why you take him 11th outside your top 10?
At least I took him.
At least you took him.
Yeah, but that's 0102 Kobe that I'm taking. It's not the later Kobe.
Yep. 0102. That's
Yeah,
probably the best
0102
version.
Kobe's my favorite version.
Well, I'm gonna go with my guy, my version of Kobe, Rick Barry.
There you go.
There we
you
go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Can't let him be left out. I'm taking 1975 version, of course, and he can fit in with his team because as long as his teammates are doing the right way, the right thing, right? As long as they're playing the right way,
Mhm.
it's good. All my guys are gonna play the right way. So
Yeah.
so we're good.
Good luck telling some of them to do that.
And then right after Rick Barry, I'm gonna play another guy that was his contemporary, who I think can do everything. Is John Hondo Havlicek. This
Nice
guy.
pick. That's a nice pick.
Yep. This guy, just because
Very
he can
nice-
do
very nice
literally, yeah, he actually still on the board, which is
Clutch,
pretty.
great playoff player.
Yep. He can take any role, from six men to leading man. He can take any role and just
Mhm.
fit in, right?
Okay.
So
How many players do I have right now?
you have 11.
11.
Yep.
So 4 more players.
Yep.
And so I got
Actually, you got 3 more, right? No, wait, 12, 13. Yeah, 4 more.
4 more.
Yeah.
And then so now I got 3 guards already. I got a bunch of big men. I got 3 small forwards. Team's pretty much all set. I got my passing.
So basically, you just got some guys you want on your bench, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay, I got my passing. I got my.
They could probably be a duplicate of what you already have, or yeah. So we still got Wade, Prime Wade was really good, Prime Drexler, Gervin, bunch of defensive guys on there, pretty good. Karl Malone still hasn't been taken yet. Prime Kevin McHale. There's a thought. Could beat anyone on the post. Prime KG, just a slightly lesser version of Duncan.
AD is actually pretty interesting as well.
AD is actually pretty good.
Between AD and KG is a pretty tough choice.
Mm-hmm.
These two guys are pretty close.
AD and KG is interesting. Yep.
Honestly, even
AD slightly better offensively. KG defensively maybe just a touch more.
depends. Different.
And maybe a
Because-
better rebounder too.
AD is a more versatile defender than
Mhm.
KG is by a lot, because AD can actually guard the perimeter a bit too,
Mhm.
and he also guards the inside as well.
Yep.
KG is more of an inside.
But
defender?
rim protection.
Yeah, rim protection.
Rebounding.
I would say they're pretty close, both of them. But KG is a little bit taller, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit longer, but they're pretty close. But AD is interesting because of his offensive ability, his
Yep.
polish,
Yep.
and also the fact that he can guard the outside and the inside.
Yep.
Imagine him with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
Of course, you also have Dennis Rodman, who can also guard any position. So,
Yes.
and this is you can take the Pistons version of Dennis Rodman, who can guard every position.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so
Prime Spencer Haywood. Bobby Jones.
I
That's a good
already-
defender.
Can I see my own team? Thanks.
Yep.
Hmm.
So I'm assuming Kobe's gonna play second fiddle to Jordan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Kobe's here strictly to play a role, to fill in a role.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is Kobe in 01-02 willing to play a role.
Okay.
Yeah. So that actually solidifies my team quite a bit, because he's willing to play some defense, help out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pick his spots a bit more in offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my point guard in Penny Hardaway, and my point forward in Scottie Pippen, and I have another point forward in Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in this case, let's take
I'm gonna take a look again. So Kawhi Leonard's there. If you want another Pippen-like defender, Baylor's still there. Very, very in this prime, right? Obviously, very offensively talented. Roger Brown's an interesting one. James Worthy. These guys are pretty interesting. Adrian Dantley, Billy Cunningham, Hawkins. All pretty interesting.
I think I will take Anthony Davis,
Anthony Davis. Okay.
because he fills a few more spots. I improve my 3-point shooting.
Yep.
And defensively, I can guard the inside and the outside with him.
Okay.
And he can actually kind of play make as well.
Okay.
And then after that, who else do I have here?
So you got 3 more picks left. One more this round. If you need some more defensive glue guys, Michael Cooper.
He'd be if I didn't have so many choices, he'd be a great guy to have.
Yeah. Dennis Johnson, Joe Dumars, Moncrief. Hey, take DeMar DeRozan. Jerry Sloan would be good too. Or just for the defense.
Who do we have for the small forwards?
Baylor, Kawhi. Bernard King in his prime was really good actually. He's there. Connie Hawkins, Billy Cunningham, Mello, Dominique, Worthy. Grant Hill in his prime was something.
Yes, Grant Hill was very, very good in his prime.
Marcus Johnson in his prime was very good.
It's a tough choice between, like, say, a Grant Hill and a Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Kawhi, you get the defense. Grant Hill, a little bit more versatile, all-around player.
Grant Hill has more higher basketball IQ. He's actually got a little bit of point guard skills. Grant Hill is a bit more polished, quite a bit more polished actually. More all-around player.
Mm-hmm.
Kawhi is more of your not as a polished guy, but he can actually score a lot from the mid-range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also better defender.
Yep. So we're talking two-way versus all-around. Can't go wrong with either, actually.
Mm-hmm. And then, but I do have Scotty already.
Yes.
And,
Who's probably just a better version of Kawhi.
And then
Actually, Scotty's probably like a combination of Kawhi and Grant Hill, if you think about it.
a little bit, but then he doesn't have the he doesn't
He doesn't have as
the-
much
he-
talent as Grant Hill does.
He doesn't have the scoring ability of either of those guys actually.
Yeah, he doesn't have the scoring ability of either of those guys, but he's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't have the talent of Grant Hill,
Mm-hmm.
but he's kind of like a compromise between those two.
Yeah. But then Pippen, out of all of these three guys, is the best going from end to end. Pippen's the best guy at actually being a one-man fast break like a Magic Johnson was.
Oh, better than Grant Hill.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think Grant Hill and Pippen are both really good at it.
Mhm.
I think I might take Pippen a little bit more from end to end. He was kind of like a big Jason Kidd or a Magic Johnson, but with more
Mhm.
athleticism.
Yep.
Charles Barkley type. Even LeBron was kind of like that too, just going end to end. Kawhi was actually the least out of these three guys doing that.
Yes,
Yeah, but
well,
then-
he's more of a mid-range
Yeah.
type of.
But half-court
Half
offense,
court,
though, you would say Kawhi and Grant Hill both have a bit more ability to break their defenders down off the
Yep.
dribble than Pippen did.
Mhm.
And also pulling up for that mid-range jump shot if the
Mhm.
defender sag off. But Pippen's defense and his point guard skills makes him really interesting as well. So, hence
Yes.
Scotty.
Well, Grant Hill can also do point forward, I think, as well.
Yes, he could. Yeah, just didn't have the defense as Pippen.
Yep. Then you still got Oscar Robertson here, Isaiah, Kidd. It's all high basketball like you guys.
Yeah, Luka Doncic is interesting
Luka
too.
Doncic also as well.
Chris Paul as well.
Chris Paul. Yep. High IQ. You got also Bill Walton as well. Still on there. Patrick Ewing.
Mhm.
Willis Reed. Artis Gilmore.
You know what? Let's go. Because this is their absolute prime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll go Kawhi.
Kawhi?
I'll go Kawhi. Because he's a pretty good three-point shooter nowadays. And gives me more shooting.
Solid.
And he's a great defender as well.
Also can play a role, although as long as he isn't that prima dominant about it.
As long as he's willing to play.
Yeah, as long as he's willing to play.
I don't think he has any problems playing a role, but it's just he's willing to play that game. That's what
Yeah.
it comes down to. It's not, I'm sure he's willing to play a role, but yeah, you gonna play tonight though?
Yeah. You had to make him play.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you got 6, 9. Okay, so next two picks will be your last picks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go with Bill Walton
Nice pick.
because prime Bill Walton.
Nice pick.
Hard to bet against that.
Nice pick. That would have been my next one.
Who's up after that? So many interesting guys still.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, you got Moses. Oh, no one took Robinson yet. Interesting.
Which Robinson?
Oh no, you took
I-
Robinson. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I took him.
Okay, yeah, you took him. No one took Ewing yet.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Bob McAdoo in his prime is actually really good.
Things we're pretty set for big men. We have so many big men on our team.
Yeah,
But McAdoo's interesting for sure.
yeah, because he could actually like handle the ball well when he's in the prime with Buffalo. Dave Cowan is also another interesting one.
Mhm.
Just as a
Just kind of like your
Rodman
hustle
Jr.
type of guy.
or Moses Jr. type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Unsold is kind of like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Thurman, if I wanted to, I guess Thurman, Ben Wallace, Alonzo, and Dikembe, these guys.
Yep.
Any one of them, if you wanted just tough defense. Of course, we took Robinson Wilt already. Gilmore's still up here actually, but yeah, if you want just like really rim protectors. They're there. Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Yao Ming in his prime was actually pretty good.
Yep.
If he wasn't injured.
Mm-hmm.
He actually gave Shaq a pretty tough time sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, but there were also games where I saw Shaq just handled him. So.
Yeah, but that's he handles everyone. And then Mel Daniels for the rebounding. But I think you're right. We don't have too many centers already. It just took Walton. Walton is probably the next best center on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who do I pick? I got some wings. I got Hondo and Barry. Those are really good wings. And Durant. And LeBron, obviously. Could play anything. I noticed we're not that small, right?
Yeah, none of us are going for small guys.
None of us took even Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
None of us even took Oscar.
I know.
I guess my smallest guy's like Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only because of his specialist abilities. So, Isaiah and CP3 would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how well they would do though. It's just like our teams are so big.
Mm-hmm.
How could they get through that?
I know, you got Curry in there.
Well, Curry doesn't need to get in. That's the thing. He doesn't need to drive in.
You know you can't put
But-
Curry in the
but-
game
but-
against my team, right? I mean, you put him in there, we're gonna abuse him.
he doesn't-
We're gonna
he doesn't need to
abuse him.
drive in.
We're gonna you put Curry on my.
He doesn't
Curry,
need to drive in though.
This is what's gonna happen. You put Curry out there on
If
the
I put
floor.
Oscar and Isaiah, they'll have to drive in.
But
And
listen to me though. You put Curry out there to play against my team. What we will do is we will drag.
who you got as perimeter defense? Just Pippen?
Yeah. What we will do is
Kawhi?
you put him out there, then we are gonna set pick and roll until we get that mismatch with Curry on my guy. And we're just gonna abuse him like crazy. I don't care which of these guys has Curry on him. He's screwed. And we're gonna keep playing pick and roll until we get that matchup. We don't even have to play pick and roll. We're just throwing it to whoever Curry's guarding. We don't even need to play pick
I'm
and roll.
not sure. I see Pippen, Kawhi, and a little bit of AD for the perimeter. And Jordan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at my guys. Any of these guys I have out there, if Curry's guarding any of those guys, you think I'm not gonna
but
give
you
that guy
gotta
the
deal
ball all
with
game long?
LeBron, Magic, Duncan, Durant. You gotta deal with these guys too.
Yeah, I got to deal with them.
Barkley.
I got to deal with them. But then at least none of my guys are defensive liability like Curry is. so that's the biggest difference actually.
Dr. J, I guess.
And he's not a defensive liability. He's not a great defender, but he's not a liability, right? But Curry is a liability. That's the difference there. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I got Duncan and LeBron and Wilt.
It's like you put Curry out there against those big
and,
boys.
Walton and Hondo to cover up for that. Yeah.
You can't cover up for that though, man. It's like suddenly all of a sudden he's out there and Jordan's on him. I mean, he's on Jordan. I'm like,
He'll shoot over Jordan.
No. I mean, Jordan's gonna shoot over him. Jordan's gonna back him down and take a fadeaway.
It's okay. I'll put one of these guys on him. Hondo.
There's a reason why.
Frazier. I'll put Frazier on him.
There's a reason why Stockton barely ever played in the Dream Team Olympics. They didn't need him. They just played Scottie Pippen all day long. That's
but
the
he
point.
wasn't as much as Curry as a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So Curry's another level.
Mm.
Okay, next one's interesting.
Yeah.
Who do I have? Yeah, this is hard.
How many picks do you have? One more, right? Or is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8?
Yeah, I got one. I
Or
got
two more?
two more total, but one more this round.
Okay.
Right. Richard Lewis. No. Kidding.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Can you shoot? Pretty big. Hey, Antoine Jameson.
Antoine Jameson.
Yeah, he scored
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, Antoine, man. He scored 50 points in the game.
We always got
Meta.
Meta, Baron Davis, John Wall. All right, I'm gonna go with a guy from now on because basically the guys I pick are bench players now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go with guys who I think can fill a lot of different roles. Who are just
Mhm.
like Swiss Army knife type of guys.
Yeah.
Going with Connie Hawkins, and the
Mhm.
reason I'm going with him is because he's just the type of forward that can basically he's almost like how to say like Baylor Barry combination type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Can pretty much do everything. Right, pass, rebound, score. He's kind of like a very versatile type of guy in his prime, right before his injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's like a wild card time to pick, but I got him. Yeah. Yeah, I would say like he's a mix between Baylor and Barry because he has Baylor's athleticism. He's a very athletic guy who could palm the ball, dunk very easily, score with ease. But he also do some playmaking like Barry can. So yeah, that's why I think Connie Hawkins kind of like the proto Dr. J in a way. So very underrated player because he didn't play many of his years in the NBA, but when he was in his prime, he was actually really really good. So yeah, I'm taking him for my do everything kind of guy. Right, and you got your last two picks.
Oh, this is interesting. Because how many big men do I have? I have like 5 big men.
Kareem, Hakeem, Russell, Moses, Robinson, and AD. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty set for that. Um,
You could add in Ewing if you wanted to, though.
I could.
We didn't pick any small guys, really.
No, they did not.
Not even for the defenders.
Yep.
Hey, you can't teach size.
Exactly. This is interesting.
Thompson. Pistol Pete. You need outside shooter. Mitch Richmond. Or Reggie Miller. Good outside shooters. Klay Thompson. Manu. Drazen. Good outside shooters. It's your guy, right? Brandon Roy. He's like, why'd you pick me? You fought for me so hard last time.
Oh no, he is that good. He is.
You
that
said
good.
he was equal to Penny in his prime.
He was very interesting. Yeah, he was very similar to Penny. I didn't say he was equal, but he reminded me. I didn't say equal. I said he actually
Okay.
reminded me of Penny Hardaway
Okay.
in his prime. Yeah.
Jeff Hornacek.
But with less of a post game though. Penny had more of a post game than
Mhm.
Brendan Roy did. But
Jeff-
Brendan Roy in the pick and roll was pretty devastating.
Jeff Hornacek and Joe Johnson's going, why don't you pick me?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Intriguing, especially Joe Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Rip Hamilton. Freddie Lewis. Very underrated. Walter Davis. Jimmy Butler.
Can we go to the next tab?
You want PS, SFs?
Doesn't matter. Let's just see what they have.
You got Blake Griffin in his prime before injuries. We could pass it. Sean Kemp in his prime. Tom Chambers. Amari in his prime. Issel. Giannis. Giannis is more of a do everything kind of guy
Yep,
as well.
Giannis is pretty interesting as well.
Hmm?
Only thing he hasn't really proven himself at all in the playoffs. So
But you're not taking guys just for playoffs. I mean, you got Robinson and Kobe.
mm-hmm. But at least Robinson playing a role has still won a championship, being a role player,
Mm-hmm.
being a defensive specialist, kind of like Wilt, same thing. So
Mikhail would be interesting too.
yeah, McHale is interesting. But I figure if I go McHale, I might as well go Ewing. McHale has more post moves, but then Ewing has more defense.
Okay. Mikhail's a good defender too, though.
He's a good defender. Yeah, he's a good defender.
You got Dirk and Malone fans hating us right now.
Well, no, I got my size. I mean, I'm putting Hakeem at power forward. I'm good. Yeah, I'm putting Bill Russell there too.
Honestly, instead of Curry, I could have gone with Dirk, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have any small guys
Mm-hmm.
on my team.
I think I will go because I think I need more of a guy with point
But
guard skills and
Luka
shooting.
Doncic.
Luka Doncic. Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going Luka.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because he fills a spot. I have another point guard to play along with high IQ to
Yep.
play Penny Hardaway, and he shoots really.
And honestly,
really
if he played in the '90s, he'd be pretty dominant.
Yep.
I think.
well. I think he'd be just as good in the '90s.
Yep. So you got last pick.
My last pick, I think I will go with. Oh, this is a tough one. But little soft spot there. Then I will go with Ewing.
Patrick Ewing. Okay.
Yes, since '80s Ewing was a huge beast.
It's hard to leave him on the board.
Yep.
Okay, that's your team. And then my final pick. So again, I'm saying I'm gonna go with guys who can do everything because since they're coming off the bench, potentially if they're coming off the bench, then I need them to be able to fill any spot.
Dennis Johnson.
Not enough size. We're going big here. Feel bad for the guards, but big guys that can do everything are actually pretty rare.
Yep.
So here's the thing: Bob McAdoo is an interesting one. I think he would be one candidate. In his prime, of course, with Buffalo.
Still got Eldrin Baylor.
Baylor, yes. Although I think there are more interesting guys than him on here. Feel bad about leaving him out, but same thing with like KJ and like Oscar and Isaiah and CP3. These guys are also good.
It's
but
so tough to actually leave CP3 and Isaiah on the boards.
yeah, it's in kid as well. It's so hard to leave all these
But I
guys.
can find big guys that can be point guards. So I mean, and they can shoot as well.
But here's the thing: like we have all these guys. They're so good and so skilled.
Yep.
Ready? If you compare a skilled big man versus a skilled guard, you know, obviously the skilled big man is going to be better. All things else equal, right?
Well, that's like what I said. Dream Team '92, they didn't need to play Stockton.
Yeah.
Yeah, all they gotta do is play Jordan, Pippen.
So all other things
Drexler.
equal, if you have two of the equally skilled big men and guards, you're going to take the big men, right? So because you can't teach size. So I think, yeah, I'm not going to pick anyone from here, unfortunately. KJ is also really good.
Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
Mookie.
I know, man. I really want to show. He
know.
He doesn't get love anywhere.
I would love to, but we haven't even picked Isaiah and CP3 yet.
But yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Westbrook.
Yeah. It's like this is a 2-person draft, right? It's gonna be a while before you get to Mookie.
Yeah, no. And same thing, Grant Hill. I really want to pick him as well. But okay, here's another interesting. Billy Cunningham was actually an interesting one because he, in his prime, like he was giving up, but like before injuries and stuff, his career was kind of shortened. Same thing as Hawkins, I guess. Although I would say that Hawkins had a little bit of a higher peak than Billy Cunningham. Both very similar, I would say, in terms of their scoring, rebounding, passing skills as a big man. Both really good. So out of these two, Cunningham and Hawkins, I took Hawkins because he was more athletic. Although Billy is underrated. The other guy that's kind of interesting is Grant Hill, because obviously prime Grant Hill could do pretty much everything on the floor. He could run the floor, great ball handles. Yeah, in his prime, Grant Hill was a beast, and very versatile as well. Elgin Baylor is another choice I could make, because obviously he can score, he can rebound, he can pass, he can also do everything as well. The only thing I'm worried about with Baylor is if you put him in the 90s, the problem with Baylor is that he can't shoot very well. So that's the only thing. He has to be kind of around the rim. He almost plays like a power forward, even though he's listed as a small forward. So yeah, those would kind of be the guys on here I'm looking at in terms of versatility. Maybe Baylor, Billy Cunningham, or Grant Hill. In the centers list, there's a few guys who might be interesting to me in terms of being versatile. Bob McAdoo, especially when he was in Buffalo, pretty much did everything for that team. Right? Obviously, he can score. He's a 3-time scoring champion. He could rebound. Could be a playmaker as well. Actually, I think he was like the secondary playmaker for that team. So yeah, Bob McAdoo could be an interesting choice. Dave Cowens is also pretty interesting because he can score the ball. He's a great post moves. Could rebound very well. One of the best rebounders ever, and can pass the ball pretty well too. He averaged almost 4 assists a game, so he could also be an interesting choice. Nikola Jokic would also be an interesting choice because obviously he's a good all-around player too. Right, rebound, could shoot, could pass just like any other. Could pass just as well as actually a point guard could. I think he's leading the league in assists this year actually. So those are all interesting choices, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take anyone from this list. So here it's going to be between Chris Webber, George McGinnis, and Giannis. Because all three of these guys can score, can rebound. Actually, if you watch George McGinnis, he was kind of like considered the pre-LeBron. Obviously not as high basketball IQ, but in terms of his athleticism and what he did at the power forward position, like he was basically giving LeBron numbers in the ABA. And we're talking ABA George McGinnis, right? Doing like triple doubles and everything. So, and Chris Webber obviously was very good in Sacramento in his prime. So, yeah, it's tough. But I think Giannis has a defensive edge over these guys. So Giannis can do pretty much what Webber and McGinnis can do, except he has the edge on defense. So I'm gonna go with Giannis
Mm.
as my last pick, because as a do everything kind of guy, off the bench, you can't go wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the teams right there. So you got Jordan, Kareem, Hakeem, Bird, Dr. J, Russell, Penny, Moses, Pippen, Robinson, Kobe, AD, Kawhi, Luca, and Ewing. Then LeBron, Magic, Duncan, Shaq, KD, West, Barkley, Curry, Wilt, Frazier, Barry, Hondo, Walton, Hawkins, and Giannis. Pretty good. Interesting.
It's pretty good. You can't really go wrong with two people drafting all the players in NBA history. So,
Who do you think would win this matchup? Who's your starting guys? Who's your starting guys?
Well, it'd be Jordan.
Yep.
In his best, that'd be Penny as point guard.
Penny as a point guard. Okay.
Yes, Penny as the point guard. Small forward is a tough one. I got 3 all-time small forwards on my team.
Yep. Would you pick Bird, Dr. J,
Or Pippen.
Or Pippen
That would be or Kawhi.
or Kawhi?
Yeah. That's a tough choice, man. I mean, ABA or 70s Dr. J, Nets Dr. J versus like Larry Bird is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Undecided for small forward, but power forward I'll probably put Hakeem, and then it would be Kareem at center.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would have Kareem, Hakeem, Jordan, Penny, and then
I think Bird would probably work the best because you need a little bit of shooting in there.
yeah, and then Bird's also a great passer as well.
And Bird can do everything on the court,
Yep.
obviously. So.
Yep.
I think Penny, Jordan, Bird, Hakeem, and Kareem. Interesting.
But the thing, Kawhi is interesting too because he can shoot the 3 as well. He can shoot the 3 and he can play defense.
Mhm.
So my starting lineup will have a great defense.
But he's not as good of a passer as Bird.
Nope, not as good of a passer. But then honestly, Jordan's an underrated passer and Penny's a great point guard. Yeah, probably Bird. Bird would probably be my starting guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Should I start Curry against your team?
Yeah, you should. I think so. I think you should.
Well, the interesting thing actually I'm thinking about, since I have such a loaded team, is maybe I should put KD to the shooting position, because if you think about it, KD is just almost like a bigger version of
You
Curry.
can do that.
Almost like a bigger version of Curry, right?
Mhm.
So, thinking Magic, who's just like Penny, right?
Mm-hmm.
KD
Mm-hmm.
as my shooting guard. I'm
Mhm.
gonna move KD to my shooting guard.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously a small forward, and then
Mm-hmm.
Duncan and Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
So Duncan would be matched up. I think Hakeem would actually probably be a little bit. I think Hakeem versus Duncan would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hakeem would have a little bit of an edge.
Mm-hmm.
He might have a little bit of an edge, but
Mhm.
that's an interesting conversation though. Hakeem versus Duncan,
I think for my
and
team,
then Shaq versus Kareem is also very interesting as well.
Yep. I think for my team,
Yep.
the big men I have a little bit of advantage over you, because obviously we can't really go wrong. I mean, Duncan and Shaq is obviously great, but if push comes shoves, I
Yeah.
think prime Kareem and prime Hakeem is just an edge up over Shaq and Duncan,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think that's a difference there.
Skyhook over the whatever Shaq calls it, black tornado dunk or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So push comes shove, I think
Yeah.
my guys are just a little bit better, like for Kareem and Hakeem versus Duncan.
It'd be
and-
close.
Yeah, it'd be close, but they're just a hair better in my
Yep.
opinion at
Yep.
their primes.
I think
'Cause
maybe, yeah.
yeah.
Well, Kareem versus Shaq's very different. You got two very different centers.
Yep.
Shaq with power and Kareem with finesse.
Mhm. Yep.
So that's two very. I do think Hakeem would beat Duncan, but
Mhm.
Kareem versus Shaq is just two very different styles.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah, and of course they both play defense, but in different ways. I mean, because Kareem in the Bucks plays defense and he rebounds really well as well. So
and then this is 2000 Shaq. So
exactly, and then we're talking intangibles. Well, Russell versus Wilt. We both know who's got the intangibles going there. I mean, that's already negated that already negated your Wilt right there.
Well, I would actually put
And then-
Walton against him, because Walton is, in my opinion, just he's the white version of Russell. So
Yeah. Walton will be interesting. Very
yeah.
interesting.
Maybe not as good as the rebounding, but still,
Mhm.
I think everything else he has
Yeah.
the IQ.
And then of course I still have Moses, Robinson, and Ewing. The only question is, do I have too many centers? That's really the only question.
Yeah, I think your thing is you're missing a little bit of the ball handling, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean Luca and who else? You got Bird.
Yeah.
Pippen.
Luger, Pippen, Jordan Gonzalez,
Jordan.
Penny,
Yeah, Penny. That's right.
Kawhi.
But I got
Yeah.
Magic, West,
Mm-hmm.
LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
who are I think better ball handlers, right?
Yeah, but I think the thing about West is he was a good defender for his time, but if he was to hang with these guys over there, they'd all be too big for him, and like there's no way he's gonna be able to guard Jordan. You know? So if you put Curry or West out there, they could be slightly liabilities.
I do think you got the size advantage over me.
Yeah.
I mean that's because I went a little bit older school.
Exactly.
I went a little bit older school.
Exactly, because if you put like those guys, even Rick Barry might have a bit of issue athletically. You know, if he's trying to guard some of the
But
guys.
Rick Barry can pass. That's the thing.
He can pass, and he's a really good shooter.
And he's basically just a bird light, right?
Yeah,
Bird
exactly.
Yeah. And then Frazier, I think could be okay. He's like a Peyton type of. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
And then LeBron, obviously.
Yeah, LeBron. Yeah.
In any position. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like LeBron out there, then at least I have Scotty. So Scotty can actually guard up on LeBron. So that would be interesting. Even Jordan can guard up on LeBron, actually. Jordan and Scotty and Penny, all three can.
But Jordan can guard LeBron? LeBron's bigger, though, and stronger.
Yeah, sure. But then Kawhi guards LeBron once in a while, too. Kawhi's about the same size as Jordan. Actually, Kawhi's probably... actually, no, I could put Kawhi on LeBron, too. Kawhi guards LeBron all the time.
Well, here's the interesting thing. It depends what version of LeBron. Because what is prime LeBron? This is my question here. Because LeBron, almost his whole career could be considered his prime.
The thing about LeBron is he's like Jordan. They've had so many various primes. I mean, you got 80s Jordan, and then you got first three championship Jordan.
So for LeBron, it could be either his athletic prime, which is Miami LeBron, or it could be his basketball IQ prime, which is now LeBron, actually.
I think the best version of LeBron I've seen was Cleveland LeBron when he went back the second time.
It could be 2016 LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. Right around there.
But I think now Lakers LeBron actually has the best basketball IQ out of all.
I think his basketball IQ is pretty much right there. But I think the thing about he was pretty much just right there in the second coming of Cleveland, like that basketball IQ. He always had a basketball IQ, but he was able to put it more better together in that second coming of Cleveland. This version, the Lakers LeBron right now.
But the thing I like about Lakers LeBron is in addition to the basketball IQ of the Cleveland, the second Cleveland LeBron, he also has better shooting skills as well. So now he's shooting like 40% from three, right? Which Cleveland LeBron was, I think Lakers LeBron has that edge, right? So he has all the basketball IQ skills, and he has a bit of shooting touch as well. I mean, he shot like 60% in the finals last year, right? Which Cleveland LeBron didn't do. So,
but the difference isn't because his shooting got better though. I would say his shooting actually was really quite good. In Miami, there was a couple of years where his field goal percentage from three was even higher than what we see nowadays. But the thing is, in Miami, his shot form was different. In Miami, his three-point shot form, he jumped a lot more. He actually jumped too much. It made it easier for him to take and make tough three-point shots in people's faces. But at the same time, he wasn't that stable. But he was so talented that he was shooting some of the highest three-point percentages he ever did in Miami. And then now he was starting to jump a little bit less just to get a more stable shot. And he's become more consistent as a shooter. But that started in Cleveland. In the second coming of Cleveland, he started doing that already. The difference really with the Lakers version of LeBron now is I've noticed that because he's got a better team around him, he's now more able to pick his spots better. Because the problem is, I wouldn't say Cleveland, in the second coming Cleveland LeBron, I wouldn't say he was lower basketball IQ. It's just they didn't have as good of a team. So he was forced to do everything for the team sometimes. And then because of that, he had to play out of his comfort zone once in a while.
Okay, well this is second Cleveland LeBron. He has a Cleveland jersey on.
Exactly. So second Cleveland LeBron already had all the IQ, everything.
2016 LeBron.
He just had to do a lot more because his team wasn't that good. This year's Lakers LeBron now has a good team, so now he can pick his spots better and then let his teammates do some of the other stuff. And then he picks his spots on when to dominate and when to just drive into the paint and take high percentage shots. So he's actually learning when to drive in a lot more now. Overtaking the shot first, and that's why his field goal percentage was so high last year, because he was actually when push comes shoves, he was just taken to the basket last year, and he was forgetting about everything else. Exactly what he did in Game 6 versus Miami in the finals, and so so I like that a lot. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Yep, you have the bigger team for sure, but. Still a good matchup though. Yeah,
it'll be a great matchup.
Yeah.
Just don't put Curry out there. Don't put Curry out there. I'm gonna abuse him. Any one of my guys can abuse him. Even Luka Doncic is gonna abuse him.
You don't have any perimeter defenders. Curry's except pull up from half. He's gonna pull up from the logo. He'll just shoot from the logo.
Dude, we're playing 90s rules. 90s rules has hand checking. Hand checking means you can actually close up on the guy now, and he has no room to shoot anymore.
So you can go all the way up to the logo to guard me?
I don't. It doesn't really matter because I got hand checking. That's the key.
All right.
Because with hand checking, what happens now is with hand checking, I can actually face guard the guy. I can face hug the guy and guarding him because now I'm not worried about him driving past me anymore. He can't because I'm hand checking now. So now he doesn't have room to shoot anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
really
well, he's just going to be a better version of Steve Kerr off the bench then.
okay. Yeah, well, yeah. Don't put it. Yeah, exactly. Don't put him out there, man. Yeah, that's
All
interesting.
right. We didn't take Karl Malone. We didn't take Dirk or KG.
Yeah.
Mikhail.
I think some of the big ones left over was KG, Karl Malone,
Yep.
Oscar Robertson.
Yep. Dirk. Alvin Hayes was still here. Mikhail. Yeah. Bob Pettit and Dolph Shays. I mean, obviously they were great in their era, but not sure how well they would do in today's or modern NBA times. So that's why we didn't really pick them. Chris Webber is interesting. If we had Chris Webber in his prime, he was actually one of the best power forwards in the game. He could do everything when he was with Sacramento, right? He could pass, he could rebound, obviously he could score as well. Yeah, I think if he was healthy, Chris Webber, yeah, probably one of the best top power forwards, but obviously we had a lot of choices, right? If we went a little bit deeper, I think we would have taken Webber. Spencer Haywood, same thing. I think in his prime, not as good of a passer as Webber, but he basically had the scoring rebounding down. McGinnis, already talked about him, right? His prime was short, but it was very dominant in the ABA. Dave DeBusschere would be an interesting choice. He's more of like a defensive presence. He could score as well, better than a lot of these other defensive bigs. But yeah, I think Jerry Lucas would have also been interesting. Also solid rebounder and an outside shooter as well. Pretty good for his time. Dan Issel is more of like a solid, reliable scorer. He doesn't have the peak that McGinnis did or even Jerry Lucas did, but definitely he was another interesting choice we could have looked at as well. Sean Kemp, Blake Griffin, Amari Stoudemire, all three of these guys had really good primes when they were healthy. So yeah, since we're talking about primes here, I think those would have been very interesting choices. But again, we didn't have enough slots to fill. But if we went a little bit deeper, I think these guys could have made the list as well. So that would have been pretty interesting. For defensive guys, we had Bobby Jones, Paul Silas, Dan Roundfield. These guys would have been pretty interesting to take as like kind of these defensive role player type of guys. But again, there's no way they were going to make the list if we're just talking about the top 30 players. But if we went like deeper, like maybe 50 guys ish, I think these guys could possibly make the list. So those would have been interesting options as well. We didn't take D Wade, and his prime was actually really good.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big.
Drexler.
Drexler, yeah, that's a big one.
Yep. So those George Gervin, Iceman, right? We didn't take him. James Harden would have been pretty interesting if this was today's era, right? If it was today's era, I think we would have considered him, but in the 90s, I'm not so sure. Iverson, again, not sure about him. A lot of the shooters we didn't take. Ray Allen, Mitch Richmond, Reggie Miller, Drazen Petrovic, Klay Thompson, Manu Ginobili, Louis Dampier from the point guards list. Yeah, these guys would have been pretty good shooters. We didn't take any of them. Freddie Lewis, actually a pretty good shooting guard for his era. One of the best in the ABA for his time. Would have been interesting. A lot of these guys had good primes, but just didn't have long careers, right? So David Thompson, Pistol Pete, T-Mac, in their primes, I think they would have been pretty interesting picks as well. A lot of defensive glue guys we didn't take. A lot of these like defensive guards like DJ, Dumar, Moncrief, Alvin Robertson, right? Jerry Sloan, Michael Cooper. We didn't take any of these guys.
Because we're able to find guys that can play defense and also do some other
because
stuff.
so I would just take the specialist, right?
Exactly.
Artis Gilmore was really good in his prime. We didn't take him. Bob McAdoo, really good in his prime. Dave Cowens, scrappy rebounder. Same thing with Mel Daniels and Willis Reed. Nate Thurman would have been a nice defender to have. We didn't. If we had more time, we would have probably picked some of these guys. Nikola Jokic would have been also pretty interesting to pick as well. Just for his all-around playmaking abilities as a center. But yeah, it's only a limited amount of spots we could take.
Yeah, I think those were the biggest ones.
Oscar.
And also the point guards. A lot of the point guards.
Yeah, a lot of the point guards.
CP3, Isaiah.
Because we went big, right?
Exactly. CP3, Isaiah are two big ones that we left behind.
Stockton, Isaiah, CP3, Oscar Kidd. Bob Cousy obviously was great for his era, but he doesn't really work that well in an all-time draft like this, especially when we're not even taking Oscar Robertson, right? If we're not taking Oscar, then obviously we're not going to take Cousy either. Some of the other interesting guys we didn't take here, Tiny Archibald, really good in his prime, led the league in assists and scoring, the only player ever to do that. KJ was really good in his prime before his injury. Same thing with Mark Price, actually. Both KJ and Mark Price, I think, like you said, arguably better than Stockton in their primes, or inarguably, actually, if you actually watch the games. Steve Nash and Gary Payton, these guys didn't really have as high of a peak as these other guys did. They just had a lot of longevity, I think. Louis Dampier, as I said, very interesting player because he was one of the best shooters, probably the best shooter of the ABA, and the highest scoring player of the ABA. So I think in modern day he would do pretty well. Gus Williams, I think, is one of those players that people forget about because they just look at his regular season numbers and, they're not that special. But Gus Williams in the playoffs was a different beast. If you look at his playoff numbers, like he scored like 26, 27 points per game in a lot of those playoff runs. I think one of those playoff runs, he even scored like 32 points per game or something like that. The dude just showed up in the playoffs, and I think he gets kind of underrated and forgotten, but Gus Williams is just like Penny Hardaway, one of those guys whose regular season numbers, and if you didn't watch the footage, you can get fooled. But if you actually look at the footage, you actually look at what they do in the playoffs, they actually show up. So he would be another interesting pick as well. Norm Van Leer for the defense, I think, would have been pretty interesting. Mookie Blaylock as well for the defense. But yeah, as you said, we already have a lot of good guys who are good at offense and defense, right? So we didn't take any of the high-scoring wing guys. I mean, obviously there's Elgin Baylor, but we also didn't take Paul Arizin because he played in the 50s. But Bernard King, right, really high-scoring forward. We didn't take him. He was really good in his prime, though. Marcus Johnson, Bobby Dandridge, Paul Pierce would have been pretty interesting. Adrian Dantley, Dominique Wilkins, Mello, Alex English, Roger Brown, who's really good in his prime in the ABA. We didn't take him. James Worthy, right? So yeah, a lot of these high-scoring forwards, we didn't take any of those guys. Mark Aguirre, right? There's another guy. Grant Hill would have also been an interesting choice, especially in his prime. But yeah, honestly, if you're going to take Baylor or any of these other high-scoring guys, you'd probably take KD, right? So yeah.
And then for my team, I think also the difference if you look back at my lineup, right there, I think the biggest difference if our two teams play, one is I think my two top big men might just be a hair better than Duncan and Shaq. Just a hair. It'll be really close though. Really, really close.
Yeah, you went more into the centers than I did, and then the big men.
And the thing is, if we're talking about matchups, matchups will be interesting because I think I have few more.
I think I have the more versatile team though.
You have more guys that can do like varied things.
I have more guys like Hondo, Barry, Hawkins, Giannis, like all these LeBron, Magic, all these guys can pretty much play any position, do anything, right?
Yeah.
But the trade-off for that is that you probably get the better guys who are specialists at your position.
But the biggest problem is a lot of these other guys that you have to do a little bit of everything. They might actually become liabilities though when they play against some of my guys, because some of my guys defensively can maybe actually give them a lot of trouble and shut them down. For example, I think your best players out there, LeBron, Magic, guys.
Duncan, KD, and Shaq.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have guys that can actually guard up on LeBron. I can put Pippen, I can put Kawhi, even Jordan. I can put those guys on LeBron. But you only have maybe one guy on here that might be able to guard my Jordan. But then if I have, like, say... But then I don't see who can guard Penny. I don't see who can...
Okay, Frazier. I got Hondo. West.
Yeah. I don't think... Like, Hondo is good for his era, but I'm not sure if he can actually guard up on either a Jordan or a Penny. Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Wilt, I have as well. Interior, Duncan.
Interior is Wilt, yeah. But I mean perimeter. The perimeter defenders.
Yeah. West, Hondo, Frazier, and Giannis would be my perimeter.
Exactly.
And LeBron in his prime as well.
Exactly.
He's a pretty good defender.
I think the only one that can actually match up and play a bit more against my guys in perimeter, among your perimeter defenders, would be LeBron. Because West was a good defender for his time, but 6'2".
Oh, you're talking bad about the old guys now. Frazier, West.
Well, because
they can't guard anyone.
He's 6'2". That's the problem.
Hondo,
right?
They can't guard anyone.
Well, first of all, clearly he's not as athletic as as Penny, Jordan, and those guys. He's not as athletic, and then he's not as big. So what are you gonna do? You're not as big. You're not as athletic. I mean, it's me too. Yeah, so and then Curry, we all know Curry's gonna be a liability too.
You don't know. We don't know. It's, we were talking hypothetical, man.
And then
We don't know what happened.
and we
to
know
put these
Magic's
guys
not much of a
together.
defender, so like, then I think that's where the
Well-
difference is gonna be, the perimeter defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I chose guys that are actually they're lengthy and they're defenders and they're still athletic. You know,
Is
on the
Penny a
outside.
good defender?
Yeah, he's a good defender. Yeah, he's a good defender.
Alright.
Yeah, so Penny's a good defender. Pippin's obviously a great defender. Jordan obviously a great defender. We're talking about 01, 02 Kobe, who's willing to play defense. Kawhi's obviously a great defender. So I got a lot of 6'6", 6'7" guys that can play.
Then you
great
got a whole
defense.
bunch of like rim protector
Exactly,
guys.
I got a whole bunch of rim protectors too, and then I got my point guard guys with Pippen, with Penny, with Luka.
What's interesting because are the
Yeah.
two teams you pick kind of like highlight that our styles are kind of different.
Yeah.
Like you pick guys who are really good at the perimeter and interior, very like specialist.
Mhm.
At the like guys specialist perimeter, specialist interior.
Yeah.
I pick guys kind of do everything
Yeah.
across the board, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
So
I'm
that's the
picking
difference.
exactly, and like I'm picking guys that I know this guy can play defense in his position,
Mhm.
and he's good for his size and defense in his position.
Mhm.
And then I make sure that I still have some guys who can do the point guard skills and ball handling while not sacrificing on my defense too much.
Mhm.
And even if you compare like say Bird and Magic, Bird's the better defender compared to Magic. I mean, because Bird's more of a high
Yeah,
IQ
Bird is a
defender.
better defender. Yep.
Exactly, because Bird would actually help out. Because Bird's not much of a liability on defense sometimes, because he's smart enough to know when to help.
Mhm.
Like he can sometimes he might not block shots, but he always seems to kind of get in the vicinity to affect the shot a bit. And sometimes it might make the guy miss a bit, and then on top of that, he's also like he can pick off steals quite a bit. Magic gets a lot of steals too, but I think Bird's just a better all around help defender because of
Yeah,
the
I think
Magic
my guys might be more offense loaded. I think.
Yeah, but for you, I think a couple of things would be
'Cause I got-
KD. KD's an interesting one. KD's an interesting
We
one.
got Barkley, LeBron, and Magic. There's three guys who can run across the court,
Mhm.
run the ball up the court.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, but there, yeah. I mean, it's my team's pretty offense loaded. So.
But I think also the second thing is also like off the bench, it would be interesting too.
The
'Cause-
bench team would be interesting.
Exactly, because off the bench, I'm gonna have Dr. J, and he's my
Okay.
instant offense off the bench. So the
Okay.
guy will go end to end for me every single
Run the
time.
ball. Oh well.
And then Pippen, it can
Okay.
be my point forward off the bench. So I got my point guard skills and a big defender with Pippen, and I got Dr. J going end to end too. And then obviously Kobe can be my my pseudo shooting guard. And then
Barkley versus Dr. J would be interesting.
Yep.
Because they both can run the ball off. They both like
Yep.
run the ball up the court. Ferocious dunks.
Yep.
Right. Would be interesting to see. Both super athletic.
yeah, exactly. It's just that like off the bench, I think Barkley comes on. I think in a half court set, I'm gonna take Moses Malone over Barkley in a half court set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only
Okay.
difference is Barkley obviously he's a bit more of a perimeter player. Like he can get more perimeter stuff, but in the post, in the paint,
Pippen.
dominating the paint.
Pippen versus Hondo would be interesting because I really do think of Hondo as almost like the pre-Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a guy that can run the ball like basically point forward as well. Barry as well, but
Mhm.
Barry doesn't have the defensive skills like
Mhm.
Hondo does. So
Mm-hmm.
I think of Hondo more like as a pre-Pippen.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hondo's not as athletic, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. In a half court set, it'll be interesting. If we're talking about like end to end full court, it's not even close. Yeah, end to end full court, Pippen will have it all day over Hondo. But Hondo half court would be interesting.
and I'm guessing you're taking Moses as your PF and then Dave Robinson as your center.
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. Or Ewing, either one. And then I got Pippen, I got Dr. J, and I got Kawhi
Mhm.
and Kobe, and
Uh,
then AD, and then
Yep.
Luka can be my point guard too as well.
I would probably take my twin towers as Wilton Walton.
Mm-hmm.
Walton would that's pretty good defense in the paint.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Wilton Walton.
yeah, Barry or Hondo
Mhm.
for the wing, then Frazier or West
Mhm.
or Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, Wilt and Walton versus my Robinson
And Moses.
or Moses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I still have Ewing and AD as well, but
Wilt versus Moses. I think
I think Wilt and Robinson. I think Robinson has it covered.
Well, here's the thing.
Mhm.
Wilt versus Robinson is interesting too. But
Mhm.
the thing here's the thing with me, I don't need Wilt to take that many shots.
Mhm.
If Wilt just plays his role as
Mhm.
just a rebounding defensive guy,
Mhm.
like he did with the Lakers,
Mhm.
I think he's actually pretty close.
Mhm.
So, and that's probably what you're gonna do with Robinson too. So
Mhm.
that's actually pretty close, I think.
Mhm.
Yep. And then Pippen versus Hondo would be interesting, and then
Yeah.
Moses versus Walton would also be interesting.
Yeah, Walton would be very interesting because of his high IQ and passing.
But Moses would probably overpower Walton.
Mhm.
Walton has the better passing skills
Mhm.
by far.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Walton's also a better defender than Moses.
Mhm.
So, That would be interesting. Yeah.
And the thing is, who would be your?
Actually, we can put Barry as a point forward because Barry can run the ball up the court as well because he was a point forward, won the first I think. So he can actually run the ball up just like Pippen does.
Right.
And then Hano can play any position. Giannis can play pretty much any position as well. And then Curry and West for the shooting.
Yeah.
Barkley actually would be interesting as a small forward. I can match up against Dr. J. Yeah. So put Barkley as a small forward against Dr. J.
Be interesting.
I mean that's his size anyways. Barkley's a small forward size.
Yeah.
So that'd be an interesting matchup.
I'm not sure if Barkley can keep up with prime Dr. J end to end in the open court in terms of defense.
About 93 Barkley, dude.
Yeah, well, Barkley can go end to end himself.
Yep.
But I'm talking about, can he defend end to end Dr. J? Keep up.
Can he defend? Well, can Dr. J defend entry and Barkley?
But Barkley, I think that is more possible. But I think Barkley though he'll have the advantage with the boards on the inside, grabbing the boards.
Oh yeah,
on the
he's a
inside.
way better rebounder than Dr. J. Yeah.
Exactly.
And his passing skills are probably just as good, and his post up moves. Yeah, I think he has that advantage over Dr. J.
Yeah. But he's more of a he's an interior player, so but just nets Dr. J end to end.
Yep.
To anchor my offense is actually pretty nice. And then Pippen to run with him.
Okay.
Luka Doncic can be my point. I still got Kobe.
Yeah, Luka Doncic can be a point forward as well.
Exactly. And Kobe can play a role. AD can be small forward, power forward. Yeah. Interesting.
All right. Well, I guess I'll let the Commodores decide who has a better team.
So who would be your starting five though?
LeBron, Magic, Duncan, Shaq, and Durant.
Okay.
My starting five, and then second team would be West as a point guard. West, either Barry or Hondo. I haven't decided yet who can be my shooting guard. Barkley as my small forward, and then Walton and Wilt in the front court.
So mine would be like Penny, Jordan, Bird, Hakeem, and Kareem. That's pretty interesting.
Okay. Then your second team would be Pippen as the point guard.
Yeah, Pippen.
I noticed you do lack some guards here, so yeah.
Pippen
or Doncic.
Pippen or Doncic. Really, it's hard to say. I would probably just because, Dr. J would be my small forward. I would probably put Luka as my point guard.
Okay.
Off the bench. Pippen would probably also be. Well, Pippen and Kobe are interchangeable. Pippen can come out and be actually a big point forward, anyways. But if I want more like scoring and shooting,
Kobe as your shooting guard.
Yeah, exactly. Then Pippen can actually play 4 positions. Pippen can play power forward as well if he really wanted to.
Yeah, but if you want the offense, then you probably go with Kobe, right? Yep.
And then I have a lot of big men, I guess. Moses, Robinson.
And then you go Dr. J, and then you go with Moses and Robinson. Okay.
Yeah.
Or Ewing. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll let the Commodore decide who's a better team, versatility or specialization.
Yeah, but honestly, my team's pretty versatile in its own way too.
Yep.
Jordan's actually versatile. Pippen's versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Bird's versatile. Kawhi is so-so. He's more specialized two-way. Kobe too, more specialized two-way.
Yep.
And then AD's actually kind of pretty versatile.
Yep. I mean,
AD's actually AD's the most versatile big man.
I would
here.
say your team's more versatile in the sense of defense.
Yep.
Mine's more versatile in terms of offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got LeBron, Magic, Barkley, West as well, kind of, Hondo, Barry, Giannis, Hawkins. Any of these guys can play any sort of like offensive position.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just post up those little guys and drive past those slow guys. As simple as that. Hey, post up those 2 little guys right there. Post up 2 little boys. Drive past those slow boys right there. Good to go. And jump over that guy.
You got Bird and Doncic. They're not exactly super fast.
It's okay, man. Pippen and Jordan with their help defense and AD with their help defense area will cover for. If they can cover Steve Kerr, they can cover for Luka Doncic. So that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, you picked so many big guys, right? Yeah, big guys. So.
Hey, rebounding, man. Rebounds control the game. Back them down, rebound. Playoffs was a half-court game. And then I got my perimeter defense set, and I got my inside defense set. I got my post game set. I'm playing a half-court game.
It would be interesting to do this, like, hey, just pick guys who have less than 3 all-star selections, and then that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Then we'd be forced to play kind of like role player games.
Oh yeah, exactly. But then also we're playing with hand checking, so I got all my defenders with Kawhi and like Pippen and everyone with hand checking. You know, on little Curry. Yeah.
This would be fun to do if you like, if we have more guys, they know more like as much basketball as us.
Yeah, yeah.
And
then we gotta get to some of these other guys, you know.
we get some of these other guys.
Yeah, like Terry Cummings and everything.
Well, here's another interesting limitation. If we go like just guys, who have less than like 3 all-star selections, then that would be pretty interesting. Or that would be pretty interesting because you got Terry Cummings, Elton Brand, right? These other guys, Dan Brownfield, Paul Silas, Horace Grant, like these guys are all pretty interesting. We never, and like Manu Ginobili, Klay Thompson, these guys. Yep. You like my list of guys? I think it's pretty well. Yeah, you got I got most of them, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, because we're picking the top 30 guys, really, right?
Yeah.
So how can you miss somebody from the top 30, right? So.
He was like, "Hey, you missed Jeff Hornacek, Petrovic, Brandon Roy. You didn't pick Brandon Roy. Oh.
Sorry, man. I mean.
Your favorite guy."
Yeah, but I get to pick.
Well, guy you stuck up for a lot.
Well, no, I like him a lot. Yeah, I like him a lot versus the so-called prime version of Kobe. But I got 01,
okay.
02 Kobe. I don't mind. Yeah.
But George Gervin, and that guy we missed, Iceman.
Yeah, and plus the fact that I choose Kobe, I get some of those fan picks out there.
Oh, right. Because now you have the legion of fanboys.
Exactly.
Hey, he picked Jordan and Kobe.
Exactly.
His team's gonna win.
That's why I took Kobe. You see, I get those Apple fans on my side too, man.
My God.
I'm gonna win for sure.
Well, yeah, you got the 2 biggest fan base. You got the Jordan fans and the Kobe fans.
Exactly.
The 2 biggest
I got
fan
the Jordan
bases.
fans. I got the Kobe fans. I got the Luka Dodgers fans. I got Bird and Luka. I got the white boy. I got the Hick fans. The white boy fans.
Okay, well, I got.
Yeah.
I got the 3rd biggest fan base, Curry fans.
Okay, right.
Third biggest fan base.
I take Jordan and Kobe fans over Curry fans. I got Jordan,
Yeah.
Kobe fans. I got all the white boy loving fans who love like Doncic and Bird. Even white boy fans don't like Rick Barry, just to let you know. So
Rick Barry was a personal selection, okay? Personal bias. Same thing with Hawkins and
Tim Duncan. Who the hell is gonna side with Tim Duncan, man? I mean,
Hawkins and Barry were personal selections.
Yep.